Before beginning edge gluing, make sure you refer to this sheet. I'll be running through these main ideas, but you can always review this as well as watching this video. When edge gluing, first thing, make sure you put down plastic so you're not getting glue all over our tables. Number 2, place the clamps far apart from one another. We're going to end up adding another clamp in the middle. So each clamp will put about 6 to 8 inches of good pressure, so spread your clamps out accordingly. Also, make sure you're using good clamps. Bar clamps as well as pipe clamps here work well, but neither of these two clamps are very suitable for edge gluing. Next, take a look at your end grain. You want to alternate the annual end grain. So I've already marked out which way the annual grain goes. So you're going to alternate that. This one goes up, this one goes down, this one goes up. But you do need to consider the aesthetics of the board as well. If you can't get pleasing grain on the surface, you may need to kind of break the rule of alternating annual grain. That's a decision you need to make. Once you've decided, go ahead and mark the tops of the board just so you'll, if you do need to take these back off the clamps, you can then put them back the same way. I marked them with 1, 2, 3. These are the tops of the boards, and I'll go in this order. Then you want to look to see if there's any gaps. I've already eliminated the gaps here, but to see what a gap would look like, here we have these two boards. You squeeze them together, you can see there's light coming through. Cannot have any gaps. You take both those edges to the joiner, and then when you're done, it should look like this. No gaps. Once all gaps are eliminated, you are ready for glue. Now, when edge gluing, the correct amount of glue is critical. Also, again, we want to make sure we put our boards back in the same order. So I'm going to flip these two boards up, apply the glue. It's just a thin bead down the center. When I spread this out, it's going to be a thin layer. Now, the best thing is to make one pass, keeping it towards the center, press down a second pass, press down a little harder, and then you should just be able to go back and touch up any dry spots. That's going to make it a lot faster than if you go through and you're trying to catch all the dry spots right away. So you should get pretty quick at this. You might need a little more glue on this one. But notice that I'm applying glue to both edges. So this is to allow the glue to penetrate into the wood grain on both edges so that we're not just having the glue make contact and then squeeze out. And now we have glue on this edge, so we want to make sure we hold our board up. So I'm keeping the glued edge off the clamp, and I can still apply glue to this edge. Again, it should be a quick process, so don't waste a lot of time. Just have one edge to go. Don't have so much glue that it's going to ooze all over the place. It should be a thin layer on each edge. Alrighty. It's good to always have some paper towel on hand to clean your fingers off. Make sure you line up the ends. Should be fairly close. Although these are different lengths, we have extra length on these boards. So just make sure they're close enough for what you need. At this point, slide your clamps together. Now I'm going to start on one end, making sure that they're even. On top, they should be tight against the clamp. Sometimes they tend to pop up. Pay attention. Put some pressure there. I'm going to now put the clamp on top. I'm working my way from this end this direction so that if anything is off here, I can use the end of the board right here as leverage to make it even right here. That's pretty good there. Now, because I use this end as leverage, sometimes these pop up. If needed, you can get a C-clamp and just clamp down the end here, but these actually look pretty good, so I don't even think I need a clamp. I could just hold it. But if you need it, You can do that. Again, push it tight to the clamp, so we're keeping everything flat. Once you have that, take off the C-clamp that is not needed. Once you put pressure together, make sure everything's still snug. Now, you should have some squeeze out. You can't see it very well from here, but there is squeeze out going all along here. If they're just little beads along, just leave them. You don't need to bother. If you put too much glue on though, make sure you wipe off the excess, because if it's more than just little beads that stick up and it's oozing out, you're not going to be able to chisel that off. Just take a wet paper towel and wipe off that glue. But that's only needed if it oozes out. So you can also look down beneath to see if there's any gaps. If there are gaps, eliminate them, loosen up the clamp, push it back down. Other than that, it should be all set to go.